exile in Turkey, where he has the support of Prime Minister Erdogan. He denied the accusations, calling them political, and criticized the action taken against him by Shiite Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki.
Al-Maliki has revealed how his judicial power is now politicized, and how the trial against me is a sham. There were mock court sessions during which my security guards were savagely tortured, and some of them died later on.
The Iraqi people are caught between an increasingly dangerous security situation and a political crisis. They do not believe the death sentence against al-Hashemi is legitimate.
First, the sentence will not be carried out because they will reach a political compromise amongst themselves. The question is, how many people in Iraq who got involved in terrorism and assassinations still have roles in the government?
Nor do they believe that the explosions in Amara, Baghdad, and Sadr City were linked to the death sentence.
It is the work of terrorists. Others are blaming Sunnis. But nobody knows. Only God knows this.
Tariq al-Hashemi has 30 days to appeal the death sentence. He has called on the United Nations to send judges to Iraq to investigate the crimes of which he has been accused.
Pro-Beijing parties have won the majority of seats in local elections in Hong Kong, but Democrats received enough votes to retain veto power. Hong Kong's legislative elections can be a little complicated as winners are not elected by everyone eligible to vote. The Pro-Democracy Party was expected to get a boost when a controversial plan to require that Chinese national education be taught in local schools was scrapped. But the government also left it up to each school to decide whether or not to go ahead with the curriculum that promotes Chinese patriotism. CNN's Rami Esencio reports.
People power in Hong Kong. After 10 days of rallies by tens of thousands of protesters, Hong Kong's government has eased off on a proposal for compulsory pro-China patriotism classes. Critics, many of them students, had called it brainwashing. The label stuck, which led to this surprise late Saturday.
Having listened to all opinions, the government has decided to amend its policy concerning moral and national education. Schools can decide themselves if and how they want to implement it.
Still, Hong Kong's chief executive added that if schools have already started the course rollout, then outside forces shouldn't interfere. The initial education proposal targeted primary and secondary school students across the territory. Critics say it glossed over key controversial events in Chinese history, making no mention of the 1989 Tiananmen massacre, in which hundreds, if not thousands of people were killed by China's military. The classes also described China's Communist Party as, quote, progressive, selfless, and united. Adjectives many might say are inappropriate opinions.
We need more facts, and actually we want the students our children to know more about the country. It's not like that, just not like the curriculum now.
Critics also consider suspect the timing of the government U-turn on the eve of legislative elections that happen once every 4 years. Many say it was an attempt to get voters to back pro-Beijing politicians, but pro-democracy legislators did worse than expected because of vote splitting and infighting. And while the electoral battle is over, the educational one continues to rage. Critics say they won't be satisfied until the so-called brainwashing curriculum is totally scrapped. Now, to keep up the pressure, they're calling on all university students to boycott classes on Tuesday. So this clearly is not over yet. Rami Inocencio, CNN, Hong Kong.
We take a look at sports right after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The U.S. men's Grand Slam final pit Serbian star Novak Djokovic against British #1 Andy Murray after play was moved to Monday due to bad weather. CNN's John Riddle has more on that on the state of the roofless Flushing Meadows Center court hosting the final.
Is supposed to look like this, the year's final tennis major bathed in sunshine. But increasingly, it's looking like this, and the weather has played havoc with the schedules.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the 5th Monday final here in US Open, and
there are several problems, one of which is that they don't have a roof to guard against the elements.
Wimbledon has done it, the Australian Open have done it. America being always state-of-the-art, they should really do something about it. That would solve all problems.
It's not that easy, though. The Arthur Ashe Stadium is so big and the ground beneath it so soft that a major redesign is needed if they're ever going to take shelter.
I think if the USGA could start all over, they would have built Arthur Ashe with the underpinnings, but they haven't, so they're going to make good with this.
One thought is that they actually take the top tier of the structure off, replace it with something more lightweight in structure, and then you can build a roof without the whole thing sinking into the ground.
In the meantime, a quick fix would be for the organisers to revise a schedule that currently squashes the biggest matches into the last 2 days of the tournament.
Eventually playing back-to-back 5 sets with the top rivals and top guys. Yeah, I think that's ridiculous, from the players' perspective. So we'll see what happens.
Well, from sports, we shift our attention to the weather report, courtesy of the Central Focus Office.
The source assures us of a continuous flow, and from there, everything follows. And for those of us who know what the River Gambia stands for, understanding its sustainability in all aspects of life is easily confirmed. The River Gambia provides nutritious delicacies as food, while it provides its wildlife a balanced ecosystem. This river, as a sanctuary, is committed to its inhabitants' needs without ceasing. And as you travel along, all these values are replicated in one company, Elton. Just like the River Gambia, leads in its commitment to values that matter most. Elton, championing the vision for a new generation.
Good evening, and once again it's a warm welcome to the weather segment, beginning with a summary of the weather during the last 24 hours, followed by the forecast. The Gambia was characterized by cloud development and mild conditions during the last 24 hours. However, isolated rain affected parts of the country, and the figures recorded are as follows. Kerawan got 7.7 millimeters of rain, Kau 2.5, and Basse recorded 0.8 millimeters of rain. To see what will follow, let's start with a look at the satellite image captured at 16:30 hours, indicating the emergence and development of isolated convective clouds across the Gulf of Guinea states, also over central and the eastern part of the continent. The north and the southern areas were mainly dry and stable during the hour. For our forecast tonight, we are expecting a partly cloudy atmosphere to prevail across the country, and the day tomorrow will also be partly cloudy, but rain showers and tornado affectors are very likely to affect parts of the western sector during the day. And we are expecting a purely westerly breeze to continue dominating the flow across the country, and morning temperature values will be mainly 24 degrees Celsius across the country. We are expecting temperatures of 30 degrees Celsius over Banjul, and 33 degrees Celsius over Yundum and Genoa. Kerawan and Sibano will record 32 degrees Celsius, and the rest of the country will be either 33 or 34 degrees Celsius tomorrow afternoon. We are expecting a low tide of 0.64 meters at 29 minutes past 12 o'clock in the morning, and the high tides will be 1.40 meters at 18 minutes past 6 in the morning, and 1.27 meters at 8 minutes to 7 o'clock in the evening. Wave heights will vary between 1 to 2 meters and will be mainly southwesterly swells. The sun will rise at 7 minutes to 7 o'clock and will set at 12 minutes past 1900 hours. We thank you very much and wish you a very peaceful night.
Well, before we go, a reminder of our top stories. The Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Dr. Aissatou Saidi, has held talks with visiting officials of the African Union Peace and Security Council. The third meeting of the National Assembly in the 2012 legislative year has kicked off with the laying of reports by members. Heavily armed rebel groups in northern Mali have threatened to march on the capital, Bamako, following the killing of 16 Muslim clerics by suspected Malian soldiers. And fugitive Iraqi Vice President and prominent Sunni politician Tariq al-Hashimi has slammed the government of Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki after he was sentenced to death